Ha da ha. Pickups video number 85. I've got quite a lot to talk about, quite a lot to show, but most of it, not many games, so I don't know how to, I might split this into two, depends how I go. I might surprise myself, I don't know. I'm sitting a bit further back from the window today. Hopefully you won't be able to see that I've just got up. Look like, you know, look like I've just got up. Well, you probably can. If I keep rubbing my eyes, and that's the sort of dead giveaway. What a lovely day! It just makes such a nice difference. When I made my last video, I'm actually recording. You know, that last 10 questions video is just shocking, and it's been shocking ever since. And I don't know. It's going to go back to how it was. But why am I talking about the weather? I don't need any excuse to talk bollocks. No, quite a lot of stuff. Quite a lot to talk about actually. Just random shit. Most of it's connected to what I bought. So I've written it down. But anyway, I won't waste your time anymore. I'll crack on because, you know, like I said, I don't need it. I've got a glass of piss to keep me going. Got my hat again. Why am I putting it off? No, pickups. More DVDs than games actually. So I'll leave a little time code. I'll put a little note. You know, if you want to skip it, you can. Which will probably be most people. Because I thought if I might not split it up. Because no fucker will watch the DVD bit. But actually, the first one's not even a DVD. Why am I wasting my time? Just get on with it. Yeah, but the actual the actual DVDs are quite good. That's why I wanted to, you know, sort of. I didn't want to split it up because the DVDs are quite good. I mean, not in terms of, you know, scarcity or anything like that, or collectability, whatever. Sorry, I'm going past the window. More in terms of the films I've been on the lookout for a long time. I generally don't want to spend too much money on DVDs because I've got other things to spend my money on, like games, for instance. So every so often, if it's you know, so generally charity shops are really good because DVDs are easier to get hold of than games, you know, aren't they? So what am I talking about? I don't know. Yeah, so I'll get on with it. The first one is not even a DVD or a game. It's a CD. It's a CD by a guy called Bon Iver. It's for Emma Forever Ago. Going back a few years, I went over to my mate's friend's house. She lives in Swansea, and her husband's big into this stuff, and he was playing it on. He had this got his projector, and he was putting up YouTube, sort of projecting YouTube videos onto his living room wall, and he was sort of playing a live version of this guy's songs, and it's nice, you know, it's nice. It's sort of melodic and lots of nice harmonies, and you know, I thought that's quite nice. I sort of made a mental note of it and put some of the songs in my favourites, on my YouTube favourites, and I wasn't going to buy this initially. This was bought because of something to do with the next two things, but I'll keep that aside, so then you'll understand. Oh, fuck it. Sorry. Slipped off. See, I went into a charity shop, and the first thing, and I saw this. I really wanted it. It was Curb Your Enthusiasm Season 7. Season 7, Series 7. Series 7. Curb Your Enthusiasm Series 7. One of my favourite ever television programmes. One of the funniest things you'll ever see. You have to sort of get to know the character, because otherwise you just think he's an irritating twat. But he's hilarious. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. He's double act with Leon. He's one of the funniest things on television ever. There's somebody coming up my drive. They're going to knock on my door. Go away. No, not. They're going to watch me. Shall I wave? She's not. Normally they go right past the window. What was I talking about? I think she looked at me. She looked at me. Well, she's quite low down because this room is quite sort of, it's not at ground level as such. So if you stand outside the window, you can literally your eyes are just that. Or for me anyway. I'm 5'8.5", very important half. You're right, my eyes are like that. And she was a little shorter than me, so hopefully she didn't see me, but I think she probably did. Anyway. Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's brilliant. Yeah, Larry's double act with Leon is one of the funniest things on television. It's one of the best double act ever, better than any other double act in cinema or television before, or probably since. This was $2.99. That's part of the problem. $2.99. Actually, check out there's videos, Best of Leon. Check them out. They're hilarious. I had a feeling that they wouldn't let me buy this from my card. I didn't have any cash. How dark is it? It looks quite dark. I think I'm okay. I don't know. Can't tell. But anyway, I'll keep going. I thought they might not let me buy this on its own using my card. So I got this film. It's called Take Shelter. It's by a guy called Jeff Nichols. Quite a newish talent, an American director. He made a film that I've really enjoyed called Shotgun Stories. This is about a guy who has apparitions of sort of the coming storm, stroke sort of apocalypse, and builds a shelter in his back garden. But you don't know whether it's his just paranoia and his sort of journey into madness, or whether or not there is actually his visions are going to come true. But this was $1.49. So I put these together and I took them to counter, and I thought maybe she might let me off the 50p because they're the minimum of a £5. But she didn't. She went, she went, I was a £5, I'm afraid. So she went, go and pick something else. Is you trying to force me to spend more money, old lady? You despicable old charity shop lady. Trying to hoodwink me into spending more money in your charity shop, you know, but trying to manipulate me, and so I got this, and I thought hopefully it'd be 99p. I went to have a look. There were no other DVDs or games. I thought hopefully it'd be 99p. It was actually $1.99. It's a bit annoying, but it's really good if you want to convince your lady, your girlfriend, wife, that you're a more sensitive soul than you really are. This is brilliant for that. It's called Bon Iver, the singer. I feel really like, I don't know, I'm lightheaded, maybe. Bits all over the shop today. But anyway, that's the first CD I bought. I don't think I've bought any CDs in Pickups videos before, but he's actually better live, I think. I prefer him live. I prefer the live recordings than this studio stuff. I think it's sort of slightly overproduced. It doesn't need something. It is quite dark, isn't it? I can tell. Let me try this. That bit better. Bit better. Not much, but anyway. 2 DVDs and a CD. There you go. You know, this one has no story around it. It's just a really good film, and I saw it in charity shop and it's sealed. It's called Seraphim Falls. It's one of the best westerns of recent years. Really, really good. And that was it. It was Burt Reynolds who was talking about Liam Neeson, and I mentioned this to him. Liam Neeson there. It's Liam Neeson and a barely recognisable. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan plays a man who's being pursued by Liam Neeson and his posse. That is quite dark, isn't it? I've got the window wide open. No, the curtains are open, and the sun's beaming down. Anyway, it's really violent, and it turns into a bit of a. it's sort of turns quite hallucinatory at the end. And it's sort of allegorical, which I really like about it. I like films that just sort of descend into this. You don't know really what you're seeing at the end, but it's sort of told in part flashback, and it's just give it a crack anyway. It's called Seraphim Falls. It's not a film you hear much about, but it's really worth watching, if only for the violence. And it's got a great cast. It's got Wes Studi, who's like you sort of go to Native American actor he played Mugwort in Last of the Mohicans, and it's got Angelica Houston. She plays sort of a snake oil salesman. Really good. Now this next one is a film that I wanted for a long time. I probably won't go too much into depth about it, but it's called Monsters, and it's got a really cool 3D sleeve called Monsters. The best thing about this film, actually, it is just a really good film, but it's budget. It's got a minuscule budget, but it doesn't really show. I think it was director is a British guy called Gareth Edwards, and he designed the CGI for it. It's basically the story is this guy here, that guy. He's in Mexico, and it's set in a sort of a near future US, or actually no, near future world where there are alien spores that have infected parts of the world, and essentially it's sort of cut off Mexico from the United States, and they've built a wall to contain these spores and sort of the alien creatures that come out of them, and so they've built this big wall, and it's sort of it's got a bit of a political statement to make about sort of immigration and sort of Western governments' policies on immigration, which is makes it slightly more interesting. But sun's gone. Can you see? Has it got lighter? And now the sun's gone out. The sun's gone behind a cloud. I can see myself now. But it's the CGI is all designed by it's created by the program for all the CGI is created by the director, which makes it a lot cheaper. But it doesn't look cheap, and this guy has to escort the girl back to the US because her dad's rich, and he gives him loads of money to escort his daughter back to the US. But they lose a load of their money, and they have to find passage through the forbidden zone, sort of the cut-off zone, and it's really, really good. It's not a horror story. It's not a horror. That's why it's a 12. It's a 12. I could have shown that on the front, couldn't I? It's not a horror story. It's more of a love story, actually. A love story sort of set around this. See, look, you can see there. That's the map there. There's like this infected zone there. See that map there? So there's some nice screenshots. It looks beautiful, and but yeah, it's called Monsters. I won't really go too much more into that, otherwise I'll be here for ages. But I saw that in the charity shop, and this next one, it was pretty much an automatic buy for me. I don't really know too much about it. I know much. It's this. Hey! It's sort of just an automatic purchase, really, for obvious reasons. When I set up my YouTube channel, it was before I ever thought of making my own videos, and I never thought there would be anyone watching, and so I sort of, my mind was relaxed, and I had free reign to pick a sort of a channel name, and the channel name wasn't ever going to mean anything. And it was just basically me expressing this sort of a slightly pretentious side of myself, because I'd just seen it as a French sort of foreign language film, even though it's a really good sort of accessible language, French, foreign language film. But I never thought there'd be anyone watching, so I never thought, but now I'm stuck with the name. But this is the original. The one I've seen is the remake. I've never seen this version, but it's essentially sort of like a swashbuckler in the vein of, it's quite close to The Count of Monte Cristo, but it's along the same lines as the sort of the Three Musketeers sort of thing. But this is the original version in black and white. But yeah, there you go. Three more now. This was in a charity shop yesterday. I think there's another film that Burt Reynolds mentioned. It's Haywire. A really, really, really good film actually. It's somebody else going past the window. Stop distracting me. It's basically born. I won't say it's strictly sort of with a sort of feminist angle, because it's just because it's a woman in sort of the Jason Bourne role. I think the main appeal of this is that the woman playing the main character, Mallory. Is it Mallory? Is a woman she's called Gina Carano, I think. Gina Carano. That's her on the end. She's not given top billing there, obviously, because her name's right at the end. But she's an ex-MMA fighter, and it really shows in the fight scenes, because the cast around her is really good. Michael Fassbender, Ewan McGregor, Bill Paxton, Channing Tatum, Antonio Banderas, and Michael Douglas. And so the thing is, she can't act. She does as good a job as you could expect, but she has no screen presence whatsoever. But that's not what she's there for. She's there to basically kick ass, and you get a certain kick out of seeing her put Michael Fassbender in all these sort of jiu-jitsu moves. Like she puts him in a triangle and then a guillotine, and in the first 10 minutes or so she puts Channing Tatum in an armbar, and you get a sort of a certain sadistic thrill out of that. And it's don't know, it's not one for the misogynists. So there's a few of you out there, but anyway, because essentially she kicks all their asses. The fight scenes are just really brutal, and the main appeal for the film, because like I said, she's not really given too much to do in terms of acting, and I think the director Steven Soderbergh, his films are generally sort of cut above the norm. He sort of has half an eye on the fact that she's not a professional actor, and so he sort of channels all her role into where her strengths lie, which is the action scenes. And so he doesn't give her too much to act, but when she does have to act, it's, she's a bit of a non-presence. But anyway, she makes up for that in the fight scenes, and she's giving Michael Fassbender some really brutal leg kicks. It's basically like an MMA fight on screen against loads of Hollywood stars. It's a certain appeal to that. But this next, two more DVDs and then some games. This next one is this film I've been looking at for a long time. Never wanted to pay too much for it, because, like I said, I don't really want to pay too much for DVDs, because I spend my money on games, not DVDs. It's one of the funniest films I've seen in a long time, and it doesn't often get spoken about. It's called Idiocracy. It's called by Mike Judge, who Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, what else? Office Space. I can't think of what else he's done. But he's done lots of other stuff, but that's generally, he's most famous for King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead. The setup of this is basically this is Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson is the most average recruit in the American Army. He never puts himself forward for anything. There's a saying in the film that says something. These soldiers are given three options. It's sort of step forward, step back, or get out of the way, or something. Or I can't remember how it goes. And he always chooses sort of the neutral option, which is get out of the way. So he never puts himself forward. He's about as average as he gets. And his whole army career has been spent in a records office. And for that reason, he's chosen for this experiment about cryogenically freezing people for however many, sort of a year or so, I think. And he gets put in this pod, and they choose a woman, but they couldn't find a woman in the army who's as average as he is, so that they just pick some random prostitute, which he doesn't know. He doesn't know she's a prostitute. But while they're in there, the program loses its funding because of a scandal to do with the guy who runs it, one of the soldiers who runs it, and but they're basically the pods get thrown on the scrap heap, and then they wake up 500 years later, and the twist is that society has turned really stupid. That's why it's called idiocracy. Everyone's turned really dumb because they explain it as that all the people that have been to university, all the high school graduates, generally all the qualified people, they don't breed. They just talk about breeding and discuss it and end up not having any kids. Whereas all the sort of the Jerry Springer, Jeremy Kyle types, sort of just having kids left, right, and centre, which brings the sort of the general sort of global IQ right down. So 500 years later, he wakes up and where he was the most average person, he's now the most intelligent person in the world, and everybody's really dumb. And that guy cracks me up. I don't think you're going to see it. It is really dark now. I'm just seeing it. It's really dark, isn't it? Shit. So I can move the camera. No, I don't think I'm going to have to go with it. Bollocks. Because you see the sun coming. Sun will come round that way and it will come across there. Eventually it'll be beaming right in here. But as it is, it's casting a shadow on that curtain there. So it's not actually, even though I'm sitting right in front of the window, there's not actually that much light coming in. I'm sitting in the shadows essentially. Bollocks. Anyway, I'll keep going. It's Idiocracy, and that's the setup. It's basically, the whole film is basically variations of one joke, but it's done really well. It's almost sort of self-consciously dumbed down because of the film, the content of the film. It's really like it's quite. I suppose you could call it postmodern in that respect. I mean. In this world he wakes up in, it's satirical. I mean, you can see it's the best thing. The best sci-fi is you can see a logical progression from where we are now to where they are in whatever film, and this you can see in this as well. Because the most popular film in the film and television program in the world is called Ow My Balls. And it's basically one guy getting booted in the nuts over and over again in lots of different ways. And you can see the logical progression from something like You've Been Framed, or all those, like Jackass, or isn't there like a load of guys on YouTube or generally make videos on the internet who just specialise in nut shots? So that is essentially the most popular program in Idiocracy, in the Idiocracy world. It's already come to fruition. It's Alan Partridge's Youth Hostelling with Chris Eubank come to fruition, isn't it? I think it's really funny. Just watch it. It's called Idiocracy by Mike Judge. Finally, the last film. This was on my Amazon. I got this from Amazon, so I paid a little bit more than I wanted to. I was going to get it from the charity shop because I've seen it a few times. But I bought this film because Amazon have changed their policy on. I hope that's not as dark as it looks. Amazon have changed their policy on postage. They have a minimum of £10 spend, otherwise they charge you £3.95 on certain items postage, which is ridiculous. So you have to spend over 10 quid and then you get the free postage. Otherwise you can sign up for that Amazon Prime thing, where I think they charge you unless you cancel your account. So I'm not doing that because you might forget. So they can fuck off, as far as I'm concerned. They're just essentially what they're doing is they're just passing on all the goodwill they've accrued. I know they're like this sort of corporate monster, this sort of global. They're not ethical in any sense of the word, but they built up a certain goodwill from being efficient and being cheap, and now they've decided to piss all over that with this new policy on postage. I mean, essentially, so this was one of the reasons why I bought this. This was £4.50. I could probably get it on a charity shop for £2, but it's really good. It's called Troll Hunter. Very, very, very good. It's Norwegian, and it's basically it's got this sort of found footage thing like Blair Witch, and it's got a certain sort of aesthetical similarity to Blair Witch, but it's funnier than Blair Witch. It's more of a comedy. Not going to get any more light in bollocks. It's more of a comedy, but so you can see that's where the sun is. But the CGI is really good. I read a user review on Amazon. This guy hated the CGI, but it turns out this guy is a twat. So the new thing I've discovered I like doing is going on Amazon. Generally, Amazon's good for user reviews of technology and stuff, but when it comes to things where it's about taste and opinion, you know, and it's basically sort of subjective things, that's when it falls down. And you know, you can't trust the rating system on Amazon for things like films. And there's one guy who gave this 1 star, which is bollocks. It's not nowhere near 1 star. He gave it 1 star, and I wanted to get an idea of what this guy was like, just so I could, you know, in subconscious, I could sort of pour scorn on him from behind my computer. Not that I was gonna send him a message or anything. I just wanted to have create a picture of this guy in my head, and it turns out I wanted to give him like I wanted to give myself ammunition to dislike the guy, and it turns out one of the other things that he'd bought that he'd given 5 stars to were basically speedos that you can wear to so that you can sunbathe, so it looks like you're sunbathing in the nip, so it doesn't give you doesn't give you tan lines. Apparently he likes to sunbathe in his back garden nude. Jesus Christ. And it's that sort of people who gave this 1 star. So if you don't like this film, you're that guy. But it's really good. Anyway, it's called Troll Hunter. But I had to buy that because to top up this, because this was £8.15, and I really need this for my PSP, because up until now I've only been playing Metal Slug and Mega Man. So I can't, because I've not been able to save things, obviously. So I had to get this. And if I hadn't got Troll Hunter, they would have charged me £3.95 for the postage of this. See, when I do that, I hold it like that. It's all lighting now. Makes no sense. Anyway, would have charged me £3.95 for the postage of this. Whereas for that, you could put that in an envelope. But that's a 4GB Sony, it's a legitimate one. It's a 4GB memory stick, which I needed. So onto the games. This is going to be quick. I'm going to make sure these are quicker. I'm not going to do another 40-minute video. These first 2 are both duplicates, but they're both upgrades on my originals. Actually, the first 3 are duplicates. Saw these in a branch of cash converters. So what's that? 28 minutes. So I'll put 28 minutes in the beginning of the video, so you can skip the 28 minutes. So I spent 28 minutes on DVD. Anyway. 2 Xbox games. It's Capcom Classics Collection. So this is an upgrade on my one. That was £1.99. Well, yours was £1.99. No, actually £2, so give or take. And another one of these. Jurassic Park, Operation Genesis, which I've actually already swapped out the bits. So I've made a best. Sorry, I've got itchy back. I've made the best version I can out of the composite parts of this one and my original. So now I've got about, whereas before I had about 6.5 out of 10. I've now got about 7.5, 8 out of 10 copy. So this one can be moved on. So lovely. I saw that and pounced on it. So. Yeah, this one's actually already had the case swapped out. I swapped out the case for this was good, so I swapped it out with my the case for my other copy of this. So yeah, that was probably my best actual find since my last pickup video. and the games are okay. I mean, that was probably the best game. They're a good standard, but you know, nothing sort of like unusual or sort of really sort of far out. This one was basically an upgrade on my version. It's the Doom collector limited edition collectors thing. Because all I've got is that, and it's got a dent in it. So it was only £2.50. So, and this is the best copy I've seen, because generally, like the outer sleeve, the little corners get all sort of bent, and sort of the designs get scratched off. They scratch off, which is really annoying me. But this one is about as good as I'm ever going to find, I think. And the price has come down. I think that's relatively cheap, £2.50. And at the same time, to put it up to £10, I think the branch of CEX I bought them in. I think they have a minimum of £10 on their card purchases, so I bought this, which I wanted to get anyway. It's Final Fantasy IV on the PSP. Well, another reason I got this was because of the condition. The condition was really good, and I opened it up, and it had the art cards. The art cards were just on the shelf, were in the case on the shelf. They weren't even behind the counter. The only thing it's missing is the screen wiper thing, which I think I'm not too bothered about. I mean, it might annoy me more down the line, but it's not the most, you know, appealing of extras, is it? A screen wiper thing, like a sort of glorified hanky with a Final Fantasy design on it. It's just like, you know. I mean, it's always going to get opened and lost, isn't it? Because it's not even that big. It's about that big, and it's got essentially, I think it's got the design on the front. It's got that design on it. That design. But anyway, these last two were bought with. I had credit. I had about £23 credit of £23 credit, which I traded stuff in CX, and I'd spent about £4 on that credit in total. So these were in my local branch, and they're two that I really wanted, because I was going to keep an eye out for other things, but no, I particularly wanted these. And it's basically Donkey Kong Country Returns. I remember watching Pete do a video of this and got really angry. It's really funny, one of Pete's funniest. And Kirby's Epic Yarn. Oh, actually, bollocks! I've got all my stories. No, it'll take ages if I tell you stories. I'll leave that to the end. I've nearly finished anyway. So those two. This one, this one was quite scratched, and the case was a bit knackered. So I bought a copy of FIFA 10 for £1 and swapped it over, and then traded it, gave it into a charity shop almost straight away, I think. So I'm actually, these condition of these are really nice, all bar the disc. The disc for this is a bit scratched. It's probably about a 5, so it's a bit iffy. So I had to test it, and I ended up playing quite a lot of it. But having played this, I realised how I wanted to improve the picture for my Wii. So I went out and bought a component cable, and I'm not 100% convinced it's made much of a difference. It was another Amazon purchase. It was £1.41 plus 99p postage, so £2.40 in total. So it's not much of a loss if it's not made any difference at all. But I don't know. I've tested it, and I've played Xenoblade Chronicles, and I still can't decide whether or not it's made much of a difference. I don't know. But anyway, that's it. So essentially, I spent on these two. I got these for about £4 each, because I had the £23 credit, which the stuff I traded in cost £4, and then the extra £4 on top. So it's about £8 in total. So I can't really complain. Yeah, that's the stuff I wanted to talk about. Hello, stop looking at me. Saw a boxed copy of Space Hulk, the board game, in a charity shop, the 2009 version for £5. I've done this before. If you ever see anything Games Workshop, buy it in a charity shop, because it will be generally worth a lot more than they charge for it. Yeah. £5 they wanted for it. I was tempted to get it. It wasn't brand new, but it was almost. But I think all the figures were already put together. Left it. Came back, decided, yeah, I think I'll probably go and buy it, and it had already gone. This was about 20 minutes later. In those 20 minutes, it had gone. I came home and I just thought, see if I wanted to buy one. I wasn't going to buy one, but I wanted to see how much it would cost if I did want to buy one. And brand new on eBay, 150 quid. Average of about 70 quid used. Fuck it. And also yesterday I saw 2 boxes of Warhammer Fantasy Dwarves for £2 and £4 respectively. So yeah, I found my battery pack for my camera, so I can take my camera out and about now. I could take in the summer I might take it down the park, do pickups from the park. I think didn't Metal Jesus Rocks do that, and people kept looking at him. But oh no, I had a bit of a panic. My copy of Klonoa that I got for Christmas, I had it in my head. Yeah, I've got the Point Blank demo, and when I went to check out my my loose disc folder, it wasn't in there. So I shat my pants, and I thought, shit, have I somehow convinced myself that I've got this Point Blank demo? So for about an hour, I went on a sort of a hunt of my house of all my games and opened them up, and eventually I found it. It's in the back of a Platinum Tekken 2. Was it Tekken or Tekken 2? Don't know. So now I've got a complete Klonoa. So it just made me think how often that happens when you've lost something and you can't remember where it is, and how often you actually do find it. It doesn't often happen, but it happened with the battery pack. So I went looking for the battery pack, couldn't find it, and then found it months down the line when I wasn't even looking for it. You know, it's weird how that happens. Oh yeah, and I saw Mike Gatting, cricketer, yesterday, donating stuff to a charity shop, and then standing in line for his Sunday joint at the butcher's. So, yeah. And Guardian Heroes, that was it. Guardian Heroes in a charity shop. Didn't buy it. It was 45 quid. But I don't begrudge them asking them that much. I know they were overcharging that, but we can't expect them to know everything. More often than not, when people on YouTube talk about the value of stuff, they get it wrong. So if anybody's going to know about the value of games, it's going to be us lot, because we're collectors and that's our job. And we can't judge people in charity shops by the same rules, by the same values. We can't expect them to know as much as we can. And so in that sense, for them, eBay is the best price index. So I can't begrudge people quoting eBay to me. I've decided it makes sense. I can't get angry about it. And there are other things to get angry about than what charity shops charge for their stuff. And by rights, they should get what their stuff's worth. And I can't criticise them for putting it on eBay, because if they sell it in shop, sell it in store, and they're not going to have the footfall to see it, and so to get the most for their stuff, which they're entitled to do, to get most of their stuff because they're charities. To get most of their stuff, they're going to put it on eBay, so they're going to put out the product to the people who want it, rather than hoping that the people who want it will come to them. So in that sense, I can't begrudge them charging that much, even though it did mean that I couldn't afford a copy of Guardian Heroes. And I did discover that Guardian Heroes isn't worth 45 quid, it's worth about 13, but I'm not one of these people who's going to go and sort of have a bit of a Barney with them over it. But shit, nearly 40 minutes. Anyway, I'll let you go. Hopefully this isn't too dark to upload. I'll probably get a little banner saying, we've noticed your video is too dark. Do you want us to correct it? And no, I don't bloody correct it. I'm happy with its faults. It's real, man. It's real. Look at that, my glowing hand. So I'll see you later. Cheers, peeps.